I can't think of an offense that requires professional help more than being sexually abused, especially by a family member. We run a program where the clients that we serve are the offenders. We've had almost 2,000 kids go through our program, and the success rate is in the high 90s. We're trying to get them better. We're trying to get them back home. Our hands-on approach, our nurturing approach, to a lot of people it doesn't make sense, but you can't treat people like a caged animal and expect them to come out like a pro-social member of society.
There's high statistics that these kids have been abused themselves, physically, sexually, a lot of times with neglect. We find that they need a lot of healing themselves, not only to work on the perpetration issues, but to actually work on a lot of the issues that brought them into treatment.
We get them out. We get them camping and snowboarding. We get them into the community. You know, whether that's to a movie, whether we take them to a McDonald's and teach them how to order food in a way that's normal.
I'm sure people look at them and think, man, they're broken, they're sick, there's no hope for them. The hell there's not. The sooner they are able to get the help that they need, you start to rehabilitate them. They start to grow their wings.
What we've come to see far too often is that there really isn't a system in place for the victims. Because we treat the offenders of sexual abuse, we know who their victims are, and we are in a position to get them the help that they need.
It's very common that these kids will come in with one or two victims that we know of, but yet through the course of treatment, multiple victims will be identified.
No More Victims can go in early on with a victim if possible and try to help them re-experience the experience differently, think about it differently, feel about it differently, and thus hopefully end the perpetration cycle.
The process of therapy with working with No More Victims absolutely works. It's a godsend to these kids who have nobody to turn to. It's a godsend to the parents themselves who oftentimes have the struggle between the perpetrator and the victim being in the same family.
Everybody wants the family to get back together, and the victim wants the older brother or sister to come home. And that's why we feel it's so important to have a therapist on the victim's end that we can work with, where the victim is protected. That is such an area that is underfunded and needs support because it's such a big part of putting a family back together.
If the only reason that these children, these victims aren't getting help is because of the financial side, that to me is devastating.
The negative effects of having been sexually abused are very damaging. 40% of kids that have been sexually abused will go on to be offenders. The risk of suicide goes up, the risk of alcoholism and drug addictions go up. To just kind of expect that they're going to pop out of it on their own, they're going to grow through it, it's not fair.
The cycle of abuse affects, I believe, our society. What happens to one person affects the rest of their life, and then they can influence everyone else they come in contact with.
So the goal with No More Victims is to get these kids to a place where they can start to heal.
Just like we see nature around us change each day, that's how we change as humans, step by step, bit by bit, day by day.
They feel stuck. They feel heavy. They feel shamed. And once they get that aha moment, they take off.
we as a society put firemen as heroes, and they are. But the people who are putting these kids back together, I can't think of anything more important. I would rather my house burn down every day than have one of my kids be sexually abused. To continue to help this, one, not to happen anymore, but also to help the victims get through it, I can't think of anything more important. When somebody can come and tell me, I have a better cause, I'd love to hear it. It's the truth. I mean, there isn't one. These kids deserve to get better, you know, to be helped and supported, and that's what we do.